Every moment of your life, you're answering 3 questions. Jot them down. 3 questions. The first question is, what are you going to focus on right now? Whatever you focus on affects you. If you're focusing on how you're going to use what you learned this weekend, you'll feel one way. You could also be focusing on the smell of your neighbor. After all that jumping up and down, there are so many things you could focus on. We don't focus on everything. We focus on a small number of things, and that's what we experience in life. Focus equals feeling. Whatever you focus on, you're going to feel, even if it's not true. Have you ever had someone tell you, you think John is your friend? John's not your friend. He's talking behind your back. And you go, no, he's my friend. You misunderstood. But if 2 or 3 people tell you that John's talking behind your back, you can start to get pretty upset because that feels real, right? And then maybe you confront John. Who's ever done that? Confronted someone about something only to find out you were wrong and then felt like an idiot? Who's ever had that happen before? Say, I. The most powerful decision we make, and most of us don't make it consciously, is what we're going to focus on. You could be focusing right now on the blood rushing through your left ear or the touch of your clothes against your skin, but you don't. Most of what your brain does is distort, delete, and generalize to make life simple. The problem is when you distort, delete, and generalize, you miss a lot of your life. So we want to see if we can get out of that. And to do that, we have to figure out what our focus really is. Let me give you 3 patterns of focus. You tell me which one is you. And there's no right or wrong answer. Don't take it personally, because if you don't like your answer, we can fix it. Think of this like software. Here's my question. If I asked you, there are 2 things you could focus on, what you have or what's missing, which one do you spend more time focusing on? Shout it out. You can hear in the room. We're not taking a poll. One is dominant. Raise your hand if you focus more on what's missing. Nice and high. Keep your hands up and look around this room. It's about 95% of the room. Now I have a simple but important question. Just think software, not personality. If your brain constantly focuses on what's missing, how can you ever sustain happiness, no matter how successful you become? It's impossible. Raise your hand if you see this. It's dominant in this room because most of you, how many consider yourselves achievers? That's part of your identity. As an achiever, looking for what's wrong for a moment so you can fix it can be a good thing. But when it becomes a habit, it doesn't matter how much you achieve, you're still not happy. Do you know how many multi-billionaires, how many entertainers with their Oscars or their Emmys or their Grammys I work with? People you'd think would be the happiest in the world. They're worth almost $1 billion. The best in the world at what they do. Everyone loves them, and yet they're miserable. I get the call. Why? Because they keep focusing on what's missing, no matter what they have. That's one pattern. And if you only change that one thing this weekend, it would change your life. When you focus on what you have, you feel alive. You feel no scarcity. You feel joy. How many of you have lots of things in your life that, if you focused on them, you could feel grateful and excited about? How many? Say, I. But it doesn't exist unless you focus on it. We all have patterns of focus. The second question is, what does this mean? The minute you focus on something, you have to give it a meaning. Is this the end or the beginning? Is God punishing me? Is that why this problem happened? Or is God challenging me? Is this problem a gift from God? See, if you think it's the end of a relationship, are you going to feel or act the same way as if you thought it was the beginning of one? Yes or no? No. The meaning changes everything. The meaning you give something changes your answer to the third question. What am I going to do? Meaning equals emotion. Whatever meaning you give, you'll feel it. If you think God is punishing you, you'll have a very different feeling than if you believe God is challenging you or gifting you with growth. How many of you follow this? Say, people often have trouble in their relationships. You know why? In the beginning of a relationship, what's your focus? Are you trying to get them to give you things? No. When you really love somebody, what will you do for them? Shout it out. What will you do? If someone says, would you take out the trash? You go, sure, I'll take out the trash. What else can I do for you? In the beginning, but after 7 days, 7 weeks, 7 months, 7 years, or 70 years, somewhere between 7 days and 70 years, when they say, can you take out the trash? You go, what do I look like? Your janitor? I don't know what happened. We used to have so much passion. What happened? If you did what you did in the beginning of the relationship at the end, there wouldn't be an end. Because in the beginning, it wasn't a trade. You weren't measuring. You were focused on how to give. How many can relate to that? Say, I. Once you start measuring what you're getting, it becomes a transaction. And transactions don't make anyone feel good long term. Let me give you another focus pattern. Do you tend to focus more on what you can control or what you can't control? What's outside your control? Which one? Raise your hand if you focus more on what you can control. Look around. About 80% of the room. How many focus on what you can't control? About 20%. So it's around 75 or 25 or 8 or 20. But notice, the people who focus on what they can control are usually the ones who came here. How many of you came here because you want to take more control over some area of your life? Say, that's why you're here. And how many of you know someone you wish came with you? Someone who needs this way more than you do, but they're not here. Why? Because they focus on what's missing and what they can't control. Or they think, this is just some guy talking, this can't change my life. Which really means they believe unconsciously, I can't change. Now, some of you have both patterns. You focus on what's missing and what you can't control. How are you going to feel? Forget personally. Just think of it as brain software. How would someone feel if they constantly focus on what's missing and what they can't control? Come on, tell me. Sad, frustrated, angry, depressed. Exactly. But think about it. That's how most people function. So why are they still depressed? Because they're still focusing on what's missing and what they can't control. And I'll add one more. Do you tend to focus more on the past, the present, or the future? We all do all three, but where do you spend most of your time? Raise your hand if it's the past. Look around, maybe 1 or 2% of the room. Because if you focus too much on the past, you wouldn't even come to a program like this. You might think, I want to change it, but it's hard because you can't control the past. How many focus more on the present? That's where you spend your time. How many focus more on the future? Look around, mostly future-focused people. That's what achievers do. We focus on how to create a better future. Many of you came here for that reason. So what's the goal? Well, you want to use all three. But if you want enjoyment, that's in the present. If you want to create a great life, that's in the future. It's about balance between the present and the future. These three focus patterns alone can change your entire life. What if you came here always focusing on what's missing and we retrained your brain to find all the unbelievable magic and magnificence in your life and you started seeing and feeling it daily? Would that give you more energy or less energy? A lot more. And that's what changes it all. So our focus is the first question. The second question, what does it mean? Is this the end or the beginning? That meaning will change how you feel. And based on how you feel, you'll decide what to do differently. These three questions are happening every moment of your life.